So we will start with the prayers. So Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakyam Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakatamahyam Dadhati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapatam Shri Rupam Sagratam Sagana Raghunanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Saudutam Sajitam Shivana Krishna Shri Vishakam
हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता
नमस्ते
तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी हे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय
अद्वैत चंद्र
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम 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 भगवते वासुदेवाय
मुखं करोति वाञ्छालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति कृपाताहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं नमोऽस्तुं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं कृष्ण।
Thank you very much, Mataji. So thank you all for joining today. Just wanted to confirm with you all, is the audio audible to everyone? Can I see some responses? Could you please raise your hand if the audio is clear to you all?
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji, it's clear.
Wonderful. So I'm very glad to see you all joining today, subscribing for this 6 days session of Secrets of Gita Revealed. So it is very fortunate. I feel very fortunate to see some great souls over here today, because in Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatat siddhayo yatathamapi siddhanam kaschid mam veti tatvatha. He says that out of thousands of masses, only very few will have interest to become devotee. I mean, to listen about God. So amongst those thousands of masses, you are so fortunate people who selected to, who opted to listen something about God today. Okay, so that's the reason I feel myself that I'm so fortunate to see some great souls over here today. Great. And it is very rare opportunity to an individual to listen about Krishna, because Krishna, he himself says in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, says that Bahunam Janmanam Antye Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudhullabha. After many lives, one will get chance to listen about Krishna, and Krishna only. So you are all some fortunate souls who got the chance to listen about Krishna. So today quickly we'll start the session. So before we start, we will we want to put some expectation from the devotees who have joined today. So the session will be going on. If you have any doubt in middle, so please keep that question. I mean, make a note of that question. So first, we will start with introduction about ISKCON little bit. Then we will get into the program, and at the end of the session, so we'll have a questionnaire session as well. So regarding to the topic that we have spoken today, you can ask some questions. You can get clarified. Okay. So this is some expectation, and when you want to speak, I mean, in middle we will ask some questions. If you want to speak, then you please raise a hand. There is a hand symbol. Okay, so you can raise hand, and so one by one we will get a chance. You can share your comments on that. Okay, so we'll start the session. So we have two great souls as well with us, Tanupriya Mataji and Satyaprasad Prabhu. So Tanupriya Mataji and Satyaprasad Prabhu both are supporting us, okay, to conduct this session smoothly. Okay, we also say thanks you to them. Okay. So Mataji, please go ahead. So please launch PPT.
Sure, Namaskar.
So may I know how many of you are, first time listening to Gita? I mean, some message about Gita. Can I see some responses? Could you please raise your hand? I think most of us, know about Gita. That's great. Okay. Fine.
Yes, Prabhu, is my screen visible?
Yes, Mataji, visible. Okay. I hope the screen is visible to everyone as well. Okay. So I want to introduce ISKCON. I know, I hope everybody knows something about ISKCON. However, little bit I want to say something about our Param Guru, His Grace, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Okay, so ISKCON means International Society for Sri Krishna Consciousness. Okay, so ISKCON was started in United States. Of course, it was started by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So upon his guru's instruction, so his guru instructed him to preach this Bhagavad Gita, this spiritual knowledge in the Western world. So he took that instruction very seriously. He went to Western world and he started this ISKCON, spiritual society. Okay, so our main aim is to preach spiritual knowledge to everybody. Okay, whoever is interested. Okay, that is the aim of ISKCON, and freely. We don't charge anything for our spiritual courses, because this spiritual knowledge is being blessed to us by God freely. So then why do we have to charge? So that's the reason we preach it freely. Okay, so we created a good community with the people who are very much interested to pursue their spiritual life, right? Progress in spiritual life. Okay, so we salute to His grace, His divine grace, Srila Bhakti, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Okay, so okay, Mataji. So that's a small introduction about ISKCON. We will, going forward, we will learn more about ISKCON. So today, quickly we'll start the session. Okay, before we start the session, so I'm just going to give a little introduction about what are the topics that we are going to discuss today. Okay, so we are going to discuss about two branches of knowledge. What are they? Gita, the best user manual, tested, tried, and trusted. How does the Gita get that position? Gita revealed in what scenario? What are the five main topics of the Gita? What does the Gita deal with, and what does it not deal with? Okay, how to apply the teachings of the Gita and take advantage. Misconceptions and how this has been spread. Okay, and at last we'll have a question session. Okay, so Mataji, please go to the next slide. Okay, so the two branches of knowledge that Gita deals with. Okay, the material knowledge, worldly knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. Okay, so first we'll discuss little bit about the material worldly knowledge. Okay, so the material worldly knowledge mainly deals with, okay, the science of making wealth and more wealth. Okay, so all of us, we had graduated from schools, colleges, universities, wherever. So all that we were learned all these days was about how to earn money. Okay, however, so we were taught very little bit about how to manage money so that you lead very peaceful life. Okay, so this is what Gita deals about. Gita also deals with, how you can.
Mm. I forgot it all.
So, so Gita also deals with how to how to acquire material possessions as well. Okay, so everybody thinks that Gita only deals with some knowledge about vairagya, detachment. This subject, the Gita subject, should be learned at the retirement age. But if one can adapt the Gita knowledge from the beginning of their life, they can design their life very well. Okay, so Gita, as I said, also talks about how to acquire material possessions. Krishna says in third chapter of Gita, 11th sloka, he says, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantah shreya paramavapsyate. So after taking human form of life, so on this human on this earth, so when somebody takes as in human form of life, so there are certain rules to be followed, which are recommended by the shastras, shastras and Vedas, which are which are called Shabda Brahman, the Vedas. Okay, so Krishna says that when you take a form of when you take a human life, you are supposed to please the different Dikpalas and the Devatas who are in charge of the Panchabhutas, earth, water, fire, ether. Okay, so when you satisfy them by doing a special yajna process, okay, when you do a sacrificial yajna, so they get pleased by your sacrificial process, and they bless you with a different material possessions. Okay, so that can be anything. It can be money, property, having a good health, okay, having a good family relationship. It can be anything. Okay, but all this we get when we do certain sacrificial processes. Okay, those are recommended in Gita. Okay, so we will discuss that later elaborately, but today we will just understand little bit about that. Okay, and after you acquire material positions, okay, the biggest thing comes is how to enjoy them, without getting binded in karmic reactions. Okay, so when you have lot of money, you spend it as per your will. Okay, without knowing a knowledge that whether the way that you're spending money will in return give you pleasure or pain. Okay, so please understand properly. So the way you spend money, you spend it without knowing knowledge whether it gives you pleasure or pain. Okay, so you get pain when you spend the money in material positions, when you try to enjoy sensual pleasures without any restriction. Okay, you get pleasure when you spend the money in the way how shastras suggested you to spend the money. Okay, same thing, you're spending money, whatever you have earned, you're spending in both ways. One, by your free will. One, with the knowledge of shastras. With the knowledge of shastras, when you spend the money, you will not get binded with karmic reactions, which are the a source of, our miseries in this life. Okay, so Krishna says, then when you have earned money, how do you spend the money? Okay, so Krishna also says in the same chapter of third Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, 12th sloka, he says, Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavita tair dattana pradayebhyo yo bhungte stena evasa. Krishna says that when you get material possessions, okay, by the different Devi Devatas who are empowered by Krishna, okay, so you have to in return offer some portion of your possessions to the welfare of, I mean, you have to spend some part of your earnings again to satisfy the different Devi Devatas and to the society as well. So in Shastra, in Gita, it is recommended that every, human being is supposed to perform 5 kind of yajnas. So yajna means not just the fire sacrifice that we do, in which we lit fire and we pour the ghee. That's also yajna process. But yajna doesn't end or doesn't restrict to that particular task only. Okay, so yajna means doing something selflessly. Okay, so that is called the actual yajna, which is being suggested by Krishna. So every human being is suggested to perform 5 kind of yajnas. So we will just listen to them. What are they? They are Deva yajna, Pithuri yajna, Brahmana yajna, Atithi yajna, Bhuta yajna. Okay, so when you have material positions, when you are in a position to enjoy your material positions, you also have to keep one thing in mind, that you also have to take care of 5 things when you are spending money, that you have to satisfy Devi Devatas. It can be of, it can be of at your own level. Like, it's not recommended that you have to spend all of your property money to in charity only. No, you can decide whatever portion of money you want to spend to satisfy these 5 things. Okay, as per your convenience level. Okay, there is no restriction in Shastra. There is a lot of misconception in the society, that when somebody tries to learn something in Shastra, they misunderstand that we have to detach with everyone. No, Shastra suggests us that you enjoy to the free will of you, but as recommended by the Shastras. Okay, so you have to spend some of your material possessions to satisfy Devi Devatas, and you have to take care of Pitrus. Pitrus are the forefathers of us. Today we are having this birth, and we are enjoying in one such family community which was built by our forefathers. So I am there. I took, so my father was there, my grandfather was there, and his father was there. Okay, they have built my family community. Okay, so they bestowed me with a wonderful family community of mine. So now they are not there. It doesn't mean that they are not there, so I doesn't respect, I doesn't honor at all. If you do that, again, you will get cursed. Okay, so you may not have a good family relations when you don't satisfy your pitrus. Okay, so you have to satisfy them as well, and you have to satisfy the brahmanas as well. Brahmanas is nothing but not only the brahmanas whom we see in the temples. Brahmana means guru as well. It can be any of your guru. So the guru word applies to Brahman. Brahman means the one who tries to establish relationship with the Brahman, the supreme Brahman, who is the God. Okay, so he's called Brahman. So whomsoever mentor you have to satisfy them as well, the gurus. And next comes the 4th one, is Atithi Yajna. Atithi Yajna means, so so we all know India is a great traditional country who says that Atithi Devo Bhava. Atithi Devo means whoever guests come to visit us. Okay, so we have to honor them at par with the level of God. Like how we respect a God, in the same way, we also have to respect the Atiti. That is what is suggested in Shastras. Okay, so you have to take care of Atitis also. So Atiti means, not only the one who comes to you, it can be a relative or it can be anybody in the society. Okay, so who is suffering of hunger, who is suffering of different ailments. Okay, and that is the fourth one. And the fifth one is Bhuta Yajna. Bhuta Yajna means, along with us, there are many living entities, can be animals, reptiles, birds. Okay, we also have to take care of them. Okay, so if one performs the five things, if anyone performs these five things, they don't get binded with karmic reactions. Okay, if they don't get binded with karmic reactions, they will not have to undergo the miserable life. Okay, they will have a peaceful life. So sometimes we think that, why am I suffering? Even after working a lot, even after doing so many sacrifices, why am I suffering? So at that point of time, you have to check whether am I properly taking care of these five things or not. So if you are missing any of them, then you have to work out on that. Okay, so this is something about the material positions, how we earn, how we enjoy without getting karmic reactions. Okay, however, Krishna does not emphasize much on this process. Okay, because Krishna says, so he suggested that you do certain sacrificial things, then you will be awarded with different material possessions. Okay, how about when the pious credit is completely spent? What happens at that point of time? For example, you joined a job, you earned a lot of money, and you have a lot of credit in your bank account. Okay, someday you stopped the job and you started enjoying all that money, and you spent all the money. So do you think that you will be enjoying furthermore when you completely spend all your savings that you have? No, right? So in the same way, in Shastras also, Krishna did not emphasize much on uh, acquiring material possessions, because he said that Shine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti Evam Traidharmam Anuprapannam Gatha Gatam Kama Kama Labante. When your pious credit gets exhausted, okay, so whatever material possessions that you have, they will exhaust, and you will you will start suffering again. Again you have to do sacrifice again. So this process will go on. So instead of doing this process, instead of doing same thing again and again, which involves lot of strength materially and mentally as well, so Krishna suggested an wonderful way with which we can get rid of all this, with which we can have supreme bliss and peaceful life. Okay, so that is spiritual knowledge. So, Bhagavad Gita mainly elaborately talks about spiritual knowledge. What is spirituality? What do we get when you learn to travel in this path? Okay, and why it is important to learn spirituality? Okay, Gita mainly deals with that, and Gita is an abridged version of the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, and the different Shastras we have. Today, because of our busy life, we don't get time to read or, listen something, because, our lives are so busy. Okay. So, however, we do not have time to, undergo, reading Vedas or Shastra, but that's a vast subject. But, what is one book, if you ask me to suggest, I suggest Bhagavad Gita, which is an essence of all Shastras. If you can just try to master this one book of 700 slokas, then your life is successful. Then you don't have to run behind, somebody to pacify you when you are in suffering. Okay, you learn yourself to motivate yourself. Today, of course there are many motivational speakers, speakers, we need we need somebody at one point of time to motivate us, and let us know that what is how do we have to deal with situations, tough situations. Of course, there would be some tough time, even more tough time, where you will not have access to anybody. What are you going to do at that point of time? That's the reason you have to, along with your material activities, you also have to take some time. Every day we read newspaper for some time. So we can also take some time for learning something which helps us to become mature mentally. Mental maturity will help you, okay, to become pure. When you become pure, your activities, your thought process will become pure. Okay, so we get into material possessions so much so that we will lose ourselves in acquiring those. Okay, it's not wrong to acquire any material possession, but it's it's one thing that we need to make a note that mm, we need to make a note that we also have to think of some time to enjoy them properly. Otherwise, you earn a lot and you leave you leave this world without enjoying what you have earned. Then what is the use of you being earned? What is the use of you struggling a lot, putting your sweat and blood to earn those, and you give to somebody else? So so that's the reason when you are there is mm, so that's the reason you have to learn how to uh, enjoy them properly. Okay. So Mataji, could you please turn to the next slide? Okay, fine. Stop here. So that's the reason we have to reach out to the Bhagavad Gita. And this Bhagavad Gita is a knowledge which has been coming from ages. Okay. So any one of you know what is the age of Bhagavad Gita? When was this first time spoken by Lord Krishna? So does anyone know? If anyone knows, could you please raise your hand? Great, great. Yes, I can see some responses. Everybody responding 5,000 years. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Great. Okay. Yes, all of you are right. Yes, yes, correct. Arjun Jainji, correct. Yes. So all of you are correct, gave correct answers 5,000 years back. However, my question was, when was this first time spoken? Okay. So I'll tell you. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, this is correct answer, 5,000 years. But Krishna reveals in Bhagavad Gita, wonderful. Who is this? Meghana Balina. Okay, Meghana Mataji. Okay, this is what my expectation was. Okay, so Meghana Mataji gave, all of them gave wonderful correct answers. However, amongst all of them, Meghana Mataji gave exact answer. So it was first time spoken to Vivaswan. Krishna says in first chapter, in fourth chapter, first sloka, he says, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Ahamam Yayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manurikshwakave Pravit. So he spoke this first time to sun god. So our acharyas, they did a calculation of this when it was spoken first time. So it was found that it was some 12 lakh years back. Okay. So after that, again he spoke to Arjuna 5,000 years back. Okay. So because this is some little bit technical when you undergo little bit deep into spirituality, then you'll understand the answer of speaking to Vivaswan 12 lakh years back. Okay. So, and this Bhagavad Gita is a worshipable source of solution. So what Bhagavad Gita mainly deals with? Okay, it deals with establishing relationship with God. And what kind of relation is that? Is that a master and slave, or a dictator and a dictatee? So, or something like you have to undergo tough process? No. So Bhagavad Gita suggests to become a to develop a loving relationship with God. Okay? So that is what Bhagavad Gita deals with. Okay, and we have this succession coming from parampara. Okay, so if anybody has a Bhagavad Gita which is being translated by His Grace, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, you will see the parampara, list of parampara from when it started. And there are 32 acharyas, okay, in our parampara, in our sampradaya, in ISKCON sampradaya. So there are 32 acharyas from whom we have got one by one. First started by Krishna, then Brahma, then Vyasadev, then his disciple, like that. 32 acharyas names are there. Okay, how we got it, how we have received from it authentic parampara. Okay, so this Bhagavad Gita should be learned from a renowned spiritual master. There are many speakers these days who speak Bhagavad Gita, but you have to check where is this speaker coming from, from what parampara is coming from. So you have to check their parampara. So then if you feel that is there are certain paramparas which are suggested by shastras as authentic processes. Okay, today we have many spiritual organizations, so we assume that everything is genuine. Okay, however, how do we find out whether it's genuine or not? So we have to find out to which parampara, to which sampradaya it is connected to. Okay, based on that you can understand whether it is a authentic spiritual parampara or authentic spiritual organization or not. Okay, so we will discuss a little more about what are the authentic processes in future. Okay, for now we'll park this aside. We'll proceed further. Okay, so Mataji, could you please turn to the next slide. So there is something more to understand about Bhagavad Gita. So when it was spoken 12 lakhs years back, why was it lost? So evam parampara praptam imam rajasho yovidu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Krishna says in 4th chapter, 2nd sloka, he says that it was lost, my dear Arjuna. I spoke to Vivaswan and he spoke to Manu, and Manu spoke to Ikshvaku. You know who is Manu? Manu is the source. Manu, from Manu, the Manushya Jati started. Okay, Manu is the first person who started begetting the progeny. He was asked by Brahma to start begetting children. Okay, so Manu spoke to Ikshvaku. You might be knowing about Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku was the forefather of Lord Sri Ram. So upon his name, Lord Sri Ram's dynasty was also called as Ikshvaku dynasty. Okay, so it was spoken to Ikshvaku. After Ikshvaku, it was spoken to some kings. Then it was lost. Okay, so Ikshvaku belongs to Treta Yuga. Okay, so after him, it was lost. Why? How it was lost? Can anybody answer? Can anybody share your comments? How can a scripture loses its existence?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Maybe that is they did not follow the scripture. That's why it got lost.
Wonderful, wonderful answer, Mataji. May I know your name, Mataji?
Pampapal.
Wonderful, Mataji. You gave a wonderful answer. This is what I was expecting for. Yes, right. Mataji said correctly that if any scripture is not followed, we will not find it. We will lose the existence of it. That is what is happening right now. So we have acquired a lot of scientific knowledge. We have acquired a lot of material knowledge. We know how to enjoy the topmost enjoyment. We know how to study the topmost study. We know how to dress ourselves wonderfully, but we don't know how to cultivate ourselves when some tough situations come through. Okay, so this is what Bhagavad Gita teaches. Okay, however, because of the too much involvement and too much attachment towards the material positions, so people lose interest towards the shastras. They stop following, they stop reading it all. Okay, so these days, if you can observe the Sanatan Dharma, people who are in Sanatan Dharma, so how many of us have a tradition in our own family to read Bhagavad Gita? How many of us spend at least 5-10 minutes daily? Okay, we have Medaj Madhavan raised hand. So Madhavan Prabhu, wonderful. So there are I'm glad to see such responses, who still continue that habit of, reading Bhagavad Gita daily at their homes. Those homes, the houses where the scriptures are read are the, what we say is pilgrimage places. Okay, so wherever the discussion of Shastra happens, that place itself is a pious place. That place itself gets a purity that whoever goes to that place, they will also feel that positive vibrations. Okay, so yes, very few only. So we have a lot of us. I'm not telling. I don't want to point anybody that you're not practicing this good habit, because we were being taught like that. We have been taught to earn money, but we are not being taught to earn the actual spiritual knowledge, which is the source of peaceful life. How we will learn, definitely. Okay, so it's not wrong to learn how to make money, but you also have to learn how to manage money, how to manage your positions, how to manage your relations. That is more important. When you have lot of money, when you have lot of positions, but you have spoiled relations, then what use of your money is? Okay, with the same money, with the hard-earned money, we have a chance to establish our relations properly within the family. We also have a chance to spoil our relations within the family. So what do we choose? What's the right one? Of course, choosing to establish good relations with the family members, relatives, neighbors, whomsoever we have. Okay, so and another thing, the important thing is that there are many misconceptions about the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so this is also one of the biggest factor which has become an obstacle uh, for those who want to read Bhagavad Gita. So today, a situation today in the present society, within the Sanatan Dharma, those who have taken birth in Sanatan Dharma, which is also called Hindu religion. Okay. Um, so there are misconceptions like, if you read Bhagavad Gita, you become sannyasi, you become detached to your family. Okay, and if you have a picture of Krishna, Arjuna keeping in your home, which is from a battlefield, then you will have quarrels in your family. That's not a good picture to post in your home. Like that, there are many misconceptions in the present society. Okay, so this should be we should not get into all this. We have to reach out to a authentic parampara, and we have to understand how to read Bhagavad Gita, what are the uses of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita says that if you learn this knowledge, Krishna himself says in 6th chapter, he says that Yatro paramate sukham niruddham yoga sevaya yatra shaivayatmanatmanam pashyannatmanitushyati sukham atyantikam yattad buddhigrahyam yatendriya veti yatra na shaivayam stitaschalate तत्वता यम लब्ध्वा च परम लाभम मान्यते नदिकं तथा अस्मिन् स्थितो गुरुणापि विचल्येत. He says that when you learn this supreme knowledge, when you take, when you try little bit to learn this knowledge, so you will land up on a stage where you will be experiencing the supreme bliss. With when you experience the supreme bliss, you won't need anybody or anything to make you happy. You yourself become so happy. So this process is called samadhi. When if someone is in if someone is practicing their spiritual process in the Ashtanga yoga, they call it as samadhi sthiti. And if someone is practicing this spiritual knowledge, someone is traveling in spiritual path from a bhakti yoga process, they call it as pure devotional service, loving devotional service. Okay, so this process, Krishna suggests, Krishna revealed that, so Arjun, so he told Arjun, when you follow this process, this is what you're going to have. This is what you're going to experience. Okay, so when the Supreme Personality, who created this world, he himself told what is the way of enjoying the supreme bliss, what is the way of enjoying the highest enjoyment in the life. So he told this, and he also told that everybody has different lifestyle. We are very busy, so that because I myself involved in many, I myself do a job. I know how a person who is living in this present situation, how much time he can make out to learn the scriptures, learn something about the spiritual knowledge. Okay, so I don't want to point out anybody, but if you just try to put little effort, small effort of understanding what spirituality is, what Krishna wants to teach us, what Bhagavad Gita wants to deal with us, so we will be saved out of great dangers. Okay? So that's what Krishna says. So great dangers in the sense, it can be anything. So for example, like our Param Guru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, when he landed in United States in 1960s, so the situation of United States was they were having tough time. The United States government was having tough time to deal with hippies. There was a hippie culture. So this hippie culture means people, they leave off their homes, they get addicted to drugs, narcotics, and they start illicit relationships. Okay, so they involve in all nasty things, and they live in parks, roads. This culture has become a headache to United States government. Okay, so what our Param Guru he did is he used to go to the place where these hippies gather. Okay, so there used to be a park where these hippies used to gather. They used to dance, scream, yell. They used to have their all nasty things doing at that place. So our Param Guru he used to reach to that place every day, and he used to start doing kirtan. So he used to start doing kirtan like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. So he used to do a melodious kirtan. So this sound vibration of God's name. So Krishna, Rama. So Krishna, the supreme enjoyment, Rama, the supreme pleasure. So these names, the supreme names of the God, they have worked, they have pierced into their hearts, they changed their minds. The people slowly got addicted to this kirtan. They used to participate in this kirtan. They used to dance along with our Param Guru. They used to slowly, for within them, a small change came up. Like, what were we doing? What is the highest enjoyment? All those days, they were only feeling that, enjoyment means having higher level, thinking, enjoying higher in the sense, taking a highest degree of drug. That was their enjoyment. That was their conception of being enjoyed. Okay. So from that point of mood to they have come down, and uh, they started engaging themselves in singing, dancing of the God's name. Okay. So the gods, the names of the god are so powerful that they can change anybody. We know that in Shastras. So the Valmiki Rama. How many of you know Valmiki? May I see some responses? Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wonderful. Wonderful. So Valmiki was the author of Ramayana. He wrote Ramayana. Before writing Ramayana, he was a dacoit. He was a thief, burglar. He used to rob the people in forest who were traveling. One day he happened to meet Narad Muni. So Narad Muni told him that for whom are you trying to dacoit? So for whom are you trying to steal money? He said, no, for the sake of my family, I want to maintain my family. To maintain my family, I need money. So for them, I'm doing. So Narad Muni said that, you're stealing for them. So could you please go, by doing so, you will acquire a lot of sinful reactions. By acquiring a lot of sinful reaction, you have to go to hellish planets. So he explained what happens in hellish planets, and he asked Narada asked this Valmiki. So the name of Valmiki that time was Ratnakar. So he asked Ratnakar, so my dear Ratnakar, so you're telling that for your family you're stealing this money, and which are sources of many sinful reactions that you may fall into. So could you please go back to your family and ask them, are they ready to, take your sinful reactions as well? Now they're enjoying the money of you. However, are they ready to, take the punishment that you're going to get in the future? So Narad asked him, and he went back to his family. He asked them, so now I'm getting money for you to maintain by stealing and robbing. So by doing so, I will get into a lot of sinful reactions. I may get a lot of punishment after I die. So are you ready to, uh, undergo the punishment as well, since you are enjoying the money that I am getting? They said, why do we have to? It's your duty to maintain us. Who we asking to rob money? So it's your duty. You bring money. Why did you marry me? Why did you beget the children? So we are not going to take any of your punishment. We are not subject to that. It's you who are doing. It's your responsibility to maintain us. We don't know how do you get that. So we are at any point in time, we don't want to take any of your punishments that you're going to experience in the future. So he was shocked. All these days I was earning for my family. Now they say that, they don't want to take the punishments that I'm going to have. So he went back to Narada and he told to him. So then Narada enlightened him that, see, for whom you were doing this for your family. Now they're not ready to take your punishment. They're not ready to share your punishment. You have to suffer. Then this Ratnakar, he fell on feet of Narad, and he requested him, so please show me a way how I can get rid of all this. Then Narad uh, told him to chant a mantra. He said that Narad instructed him to chant Rama. So the Ratnakar was not ready to, he because of his previous life, he was unable to recite that name Rama. So he started reciting Rama, 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 Rama. So even he was reciting it wrongly, but it cultivated a good attitude within him. So eventually he became a great sage. He wrote Ramayana, which is still being read, being followed, being worshipped. Okay, so that's the power of the strength, power and strength of the Lord's name. Okay, so that's the reason, when Srila Prabhupada, he started doing kirtan in United States, the hippies, they joined soon. Within a year or so on, the hippies culture has gone. So those, everybody, those who want to enjoy highest enjoyment, they used to approach Srila Prabhupada looking at the followers that he had. So his followers were hippies, who were hippies, they become happy. They started enjoying the highest bliss. Okay, so one who enjoys, one who tries to do little exercise on meditating upon God's name, they will understand what kind of bliss they're going to have. Okay, so that's the power of Lord's name. So if we don't practice this at our home, then done, we are done. We cannot see the shastras existing at all. If the shastras does not exist, if the constitution does not exist, what happens to the society? We all know that. In the same way, if the shastras doesn't exist, it's a great threat to human life. Okay, so Mataji, could you please turn to the next slide? So Bhagavad Gita mainly, so it's a very common man's user manual. As I said in the beginning, it's the essence of all the Vedic knowledge, Upanishad knowledge, Puranas knowledge, all whatever knowledge that is been shared in. We have like 4 Vedas, we have 108 Upanishads, we have 18 Puranas. Okay, we have 2 Itihasas, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Okay, and we also have some Samhita. So Samhita in the sense like Parashar Samhita, Yajnavalkya Samhita, Manusmriti, we all Smritis. Okay, if you have to read all these, our lifetime will not be sufficient for to read all this. But if you want to understand what is being told in all these scriptures, please take Bhagavad Gita. Try to read it. Very simple book. Very. If you just try to read one sloka a day, it takes 700 days for you to finish off that. Okay, so it's not a big deal to spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes every day to understand this scripture. So why are we doing this? To save ourselves. That's it. This is the only religion, this is the only dharma, Sanatana Dharma, which uh, also prays for the well-being of everybody, irrespective of their religion, creed, caste, whatever it may be. It says, Bhumi Shanti, Apo Shanti, Antariksha Shanti, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Like that, every prayer, every yajna that is performed in Sanatana Dharma, that is being performed, the intention of every yajna performed in Sanatana Dharma is requesting, praying for the well-being of the society, the world, the planet. Okay, so if we lose, if we don't practice this, then we will lose this knowledge, and it's a threat to human life. Okay. So that's the reason we should not allow Gita to lose, the knowledge of Gita to lose. Okay, we have to practice it to our level, to our convenient level. Okay, because Krishna speaks entire Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, and at last he says, "Iti te jnanam akyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrishetad seshena iti ichchasi tatha kuru." He says that Arjun, now that I spoke to, he speaks this in the 18th chapter. Okay, last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says, Arjun, now that I spoke to you this entire knowledge, now it's your choice whether to follow or reject. This is the only scripture, this is the only religion, this is the only dharma which gives choice to the individual whether to choose or not. So a real father, he gives choice to his kids to select their career. He doesn't impose, he suggests. That's what been done by Krishna. Krishna did the same thing to Arjuna. He did not impose the knowledge. He suggested, my dear Arjuna, you are now bewildered to do what? Dharma or adharma? Do the war or withdrawing from the war? So please, I suggest you understand what I said. Then you think of you choose. Okay. If you cannot choose, then you believe me, I am there to help you. Okay. So first choice is given to every individual. Okay. So this is a very freedom will, very freedom scripture, I can say, very freedom religion that we are in. Okay, if we don't understand the codes of this religion, then we are doomed. So Mataji, could you please turn to the next? Okay, so Bhagavad Gita mainly deals with 5 important topics. Okay, so here on the screen you can see, okay, Prakriti, Kala, Jiva, Karma, Ishvara. What is Prakriti? What is Kala? What is Jiva? What is Karma? What is Ishvara? Who is Ishvara? Okay, so these main things Bhagavad Gita deal with. So we will have little bit discussion about these topics from tomorrow onwards, which is very, very important to understand what is the intention of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so could you please turn to the next slide, Mataji? Okay, so how do we have to okay. The joy of preparing oneself is also a special experience by itself. Remember Krishna as our ever well-wisher and always a loving friend. Okay, so Mataji, before this, there is one more slide. How does Arjuna admits Bhagavad Gita? Could you please go to that slide? Right, right. Okay. How to accept the Gita and take advantage? Exactly like how Arjuna accepted. Okay. Do you know how many of you know how Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita? Can anybody comment on this? What was the mood of Arjuna when he was bewildered, when he was confused? Can anybody comment on this? Okay. He don't want to do war. Okay, surrender to Lord. Okay, okay, Bindu Mata, surrender to Lord. Right. Okay, fine. Both the answers are correct. So we got answers like he don't want to do war. He want to surrender to Lord. Okay. So Arjuna was confused. The war was Kurukshetra war was started. He was in the war. He looked up. He looked at the both the armies, and he found his uncle, grandfather, brothers, brother-in-laws, everybody, and yes, correct. Neeraj Mataji, dilemma, right. So he was, at once he was like, what? What am I doing here? What am I supposed to do? Do I have to kill them? Do I have to kill and take their kingdom, which will be tainted with the blood stains of them? So why do I have to kill my own relatives? Why do I have to kill my own grandfather who substituted my father? When Pandavas lost their father, their grandfather begot them. So why do I have to kill my grandfather? So he was in a big dilemma. He was in a confusion what to do. Okay, so then he spoke a lot. Okay, and then he submitted himself to Krishna, saying that Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava pruchami tvam dharma sammoda cheta yashreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam praparnam. Said, my dear Lord, O Janardana, Krishna, Madhusudana, uh, my dear Govinda, now I am lost my mind. I lost my mind. I don't know what to do because of my previous miseries that I have did. I am unable to decide what to do. My voice is getting choked up. My bow, the Gandiva is getting slipped from my hand. So I don't know, my dear Lord. Please instruct me. Now I want to become your disciple, pure disciple. So please suggest me what should I do. So at once he completely surrendered to Krishna. He pleaded Krishna that, my dear Lord, please show me a way what to do. So this is the mood how we have to submit to Lord. And then we will understand Gita. Then the Ishvara who is sitting in our heart. Krishna says that Ishvara, God says that, Sarvasya Chaham Hrudi Sannivishto. He says that I am sitting in everybody's heart. Okay, when you surrender to him, he reveals himself within your heart. Okay, So we say in Sanskrit, we say Hrudaya Kamala. Okay. So in the lotus of your heart, so Lord reveals himself. When you submit yourself to Lord with this mood of words of Arjuna, how he submitted himself to the Lord. Okay. So this is how we need to submit to the Lord. Okay, so that helps us to understand the Gita knowledge. Until unless, so first of all, we are in a confusion in present society, that whom to reach, what to, what to ask. We always feel when we get into some tough situation, problems, issues, anxiety. Okay, so we are confused whom to reach. Some people, they may give their selfish solutions, which may again put you into troubles. Okay, some may give you selfless, but it's tough to find who is selfish and who is selfless. That point of time, I request all of you, whoever attending this particular session, to don't get bewildered, don't get confused. Fold your hands, go to the altar if you have at your home, or go to a temple, and fold your hands, request God that, my dear God, I am in this troublesome situation. I don't know what to do. Please show me a way. Please teach me something. Please make me understand what should I do. Okay, like that. If you pray, I am saying, I assure you 100% that he will reveal himself to you. He will show you a path, because he is our father. He is our well-wisher. Krishna says, Mataji, could you please turn to the next slide? Hare Krishna. So, next slide, please. So Krishna says, remember Krishna, he is our well-wisher. He assured Arjuna in the 5th chapter, 5.29 of Gita, Bhoktaram yajya tapasam sarva lokamaheshwaram suhridam mam sarva bhutanam nyatva mam shantimarachati. So I'll recite this wonderful sloka one more time. So how many of you heard this sloka earlier? How many of you know this sloka? Have you ever heard anybody? Any responses? 2 participants raised. Okay, okay. Pampa Pal, Bindu, Mataji, Anuradha Mataji, Meghana Malna. Wonderful. We have very great devotees in our session today who already have some introduction, some idea about Bhagavad Gita. That's great to see. That's the reason I say this crowd is a fortunate crowd. By looking at them, I am become fortunate. Okay. So yes. So Krishna says, Bhoktaram yajatapasam sarva lokamaheshwaram suhridam mam sarva bhutanam nyatva mam shantimrachati. So he says, I am the supreme enjoyer. I am the Ishvara of this world. Okay, I am the Ishvara to this universe. So understanding me will give you peace. And though I am Ishvara, supreme to the universe, okay, I am a suhrud. I am a suhrud. Okay. Suhrud means, okay, just give me. Okay. So I am the well-wisher of everybody. Suhrud means one who is a well-wisher, one who thinks and tries to help you when you are in need. Okay? He always thinks of your well-being only. So that person is called Suhrud. He says so. Here Krishna doesn't want to establish a kind of supreme person. Now you are a slave to me. You have to, if you don't surrender to me, you are done. You will see hellish planets. I'm going to put you in hell. He can say that, but he doesn't want to say that. He want to have a friendly relationship with his disciples, his devotees. Okay, that is the reason this Sanatan Dharma is a wonderful Dharma. If we lose it, then we will lose God. If we don't practice the scriptures, then we will not understand God properly, the intention of God properly. Okay. So Krishna is always a loving friend, and when you try to endeavor, when you try to put little endeavor to understand this knowledge, Krishna says, Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhyat. As I said, you will get saved of great dangers. Okay. So, we don't know what danger we may have in the future, but when you are a friend of a supreme person, do you think that you may have to undergo those dangers? No, he will save you. He will take care of you. Even if you are, it doesn't mean that, you don't get troubles, you don't get problems, you don't get miseries in your life. You will get, but you will also have a knowledge how to deal with them. When you have a problem and when you have a solution, the problem is not a problem. It's a puzzle. It gives you an enjoyment by solving it. Okay. This is what Krishna wants to give you. If you want to take this, kindly join regularly to these sessions. Okay. So that's what we want to talk about this. And so this is what we want to speak about today. So I took 10 minutes more. I'm sorry for that. So here we'll stop for today. Okay. So we will have a questionnaire session. We are going to give chance to all the individuals who can unmute themselves and speak. However, before that, I request all of you to raise their hand, whoever has question. And I also want to announce to all of you that we will stop here. Those who have any questions, they can stay back and they can get clarified. Those who doesn't have any questions, you can either stay or you can leave from this session for today. We request you to come back tomorrow, okay, and make us fortunate by discussing something about Krishna, and become fortunate by listening something about Krishna. Okay. So, does anybody has any questions? So, okay, I see 2 responses. Okay. So we have Mr. Arjun. We have Arjun Jain Prabhuji who wants to ask a question. Let's understand what question he has. Okay. So thank you, Mr. Sorry, Anuj Jain. Anuj Jain. Let me spell it. Okay. Please go ahead, Anuj Jain Prabhuji. What's your question?
Krishna Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
my question is that even after reading Bhagavad Gita daily, there are certain times that there are unfulfilled desires that remain in our heart. And still we are not able to overcome our anger, and we get angry. We are not able to overcome our short-temperedness.
Okay.
Maybe in office, maybe at home, maybe on our own selves. So how do we inculcate that habit that the unwanted cravings, unwanted desires, and also the angry degraded?
Okay, great. That's a wonderful question. So you wanted to understand how do you want to inculcate a attitude of getting rid of unwanted desires, unwanted anger, unwanted anxiety, right?
Yes.
Great. So it's been how many days you are reading Bhagavad Gita? May I understand?
Almost 1.5 years.
That's a great, very good time. So first of all, I want to clarify one thing, that Bhagavad Gita doesn't stop you to undergo the human emotions. Okay, we are human beings. We cannot be statues without any emotions. This anxiety, this anger, this desires are human emotions. Okay, we have to have them, but we have to understand to what level we have to have. So when we get a desire, we have to analyze whether it helps me in the future to undergo pleasure or pain. Okay, so easily whatever it can be any desire. So it can be buying something, it can be enjoying a party, or it can be having relationship with somebody, it can be, anything. Okay. By undergoing that, am I going to have pleasure or pain in the future? Okay. So some we can easily make out. For example, if somebody want to have a liquor party, it's an enjoyment in the present society right now. So obviously it is, told that, if you have consumed liquor, it's harmful to health. You can understand that easily. Okay, we can make out whether to undergo that or not. Okay. However, there are some things that, which you cannot make out whether they'll give uh, enjoyment or not. That point of time, you have to seek help of a, uh, you know, spiritual mentor, I suggest, who is selfless, who suggests you selflessly. Because obviously, when you master Bhagavad Gita, when you understand the 700 slokas of Bhagavad Gita, you will be easily able to make out what is required to you, what is not required to you, how do you deal with this desire that you're getting. But when you are unable to, so please take help of any senior person who is selfless, and you can discuss with them openly. Okay, this is what I'm undergoing now. So is this right thing, or do am I going to have bad time or good time by having this? Like that, you can discuss. That is one thing. Second thing, anger. You said, you spoke about that was about desires. Okay. And second thing, anger. So anger on correcting somebody is required. Anger based on our ego is not required. So for example, if you have a kid at home making a lot of noise, if you shout on them, no, that's not an anger that you can say that that's an anger to correct the child, which helps the child, instead helps you as well, the family as well. Okay, you cannot, you have to, you have to show your anger over there. Okay, so whenever you get into anger, you have to have a knowledge, make out that whether I'm undergoing this anger because of my ego, or because I want to correct something. Okay? And this anger should not be blasting. It should be like a polite way. It should be like, presenting way. The other person should understand that, you're trying to correct them. Okay, so in that way you can show anger. That's a human emotion, but you have to understand to what level you have to show anger. So that's about anger thing, how you can deal with. Okay. So what was does it answer your question, Anuji?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Welcome to. So who else has a question?
Prabhuji, I had a question. This is Neeraj.
Your name, Prabhu?
Neeraj.
Neeraj. Okay, Neeraj Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Yes.
What's the question, Prabhu?
Yes. Actually, I had this question that no, from childhood we have been brought up this way that no, there is always a path, there is always a goal setting. You study, you work hard, you earn, then you get into a job, and then there is an end. I mean, it's like a process. I mean, we know that at the end, okay, we get this, or there's some output. I know spirituality, like I have been reading Bhagavad Gita for past like 6 months, but what I want to understand is how am I going to explain myself that how is this journey going to be like as Anuj Prabhu mentioned earlier that he also gets this desire or he gets slipped from the path and there's a digression. So I also face the same problem that how am I going to explain myself that what is the path for me? Like I had this material path of now how is my journey, the spiritual path, how I should explain myself?
Wonderful question, Prabhu. Yes. So you wanted to understand, like from childhood, there is a goal setting, you achieved that. After that, what? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, yes, of course, when you have taken birth, obviously, from the time we take birth, we have been tagged. This person should become doctor, engineer. We have been labeled. Before we get name, we get a label. My son, my kid should become this. Okay, that's a common expectation of every parent. Okay, however, yeah, so spirituality is not something which is apart from our material goals. Okay, we should adapt, involve the spirituality while we are trying to achieve our material goals. Okay, we Indians, are very fortunate. Every part of life we see God. Okay, but we don't involve in Him in our endeavors. Okay, so when you're trying to achieve any of your goal, so now that you are reading Bhagavad Gita, you have to understand one thing: the purpose of life is to understand God and develop a loving relationship with Him. How do you do that? So you are already practicing. You're reading Bhagavad Gita at least sometime a day, every day since last 6 months. Okay, now onwards, you please understand one thing, that so going forward, whatever job you do, whatever profession you are in, you also continue this habit of understanding about God. Now, whatever material things that you're doing, they become spiritual. Okay, for example, if you prepare a sweet in your home, okay, you prepare it to eat. Okay, and the same sweet, some portion of that sweet, if it is offered to God, and that portion which you have offered to God, if you mix it with the bigger portion, then that whole thing becomes purified. It becomes prasadam. When you eat the holy food of God, you are saved. That's successful. So you're eating prasadam, you're blessed. Okay, in the same way, whatever material things that you achieve in your life, so if you, the way how you're doing now, if you involve God in those activities while you're pursuing those, obviously everything that you do is devotional service only. So some part of, as we discussed in the beginning of the session, when whatever you achieve, some part of that portion, if you offer to God, back to Him, whether it can be time, money, or any service, or service of reading, or telling to somebody, whatever it may be. So you're in a correct path. Okay, so going forward, it's not it's not in one session, or within a short period you will understand what is the whole. I can say the whole purpose of life in one line, but to understand that, it takes lives, many lives. Krishna himself says that after many lives, one understands that this spiritual knowledge is important. Like now that it's a time for you, you kick-started your understanding what is spirituality is. So you'll have a better understanding going further. Okay, so did it answer your question, Prabhu, to some extent?
Yes, a lot, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Very welcome, Prabhu. Thank you for.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu, there are two
Meghana-
hands raised. One is Rajni Mataji and Meghna Mataji. They're waiting for questions. Mataji.
oh great.
Yes, Prabhu. Meghana Mataji has put a chat. So what is karma is her question.
Oh, great. Yeah. So, wonderful question, Mataji. Same question Arjuna also had. So, Arjuna, in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is Akshara Param Brahma Yoga, so which is also called Attaining the Supreme, the beginning of this chapter, Arjuna questions Krishna, my dear Krishna, tell me, Kim Karma, Kima Karma. So he said, he asked Krishna, what is karma, Krishna? So Krishna answers Arjuna's question. Krishna says that in the 4th sloka of the same chapter, whatever activities that you perform, bhuta bhavod bhavakara visarga karma. He says bhuta. Bhuta means the living entities, we. Bhuta bhava. Bhava means the material world, whatever we are living right now. Okay. Bhuta bhava bhavakara visarga karma. Whatever activities that you do in this material world, they are called karma. Karma, we get panicked once we listen this word karma. So karma, it means karma is an activity that you have performed, good or bad, that comes next. Okay, so if you have did something which is suggested in scriptures, good karma. If you haven't followed scriptures and you did something which is completely against to the scriptures, bad karma. So by doing both, you will, you will have to undergo the reactions of it, good karma or bad karma. So to understand what are good karmas, kindly take shelter of scriptures. Okay, so to do bad karma, you don't have to have any scriptural knowledge. You can do free will, whatever you want. Okay. So karma is, the definition of karma is whatever activities that you do in this material world are karma. Is that clear, Mataji?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
This is Meghana, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, actually, when Krishna teaches Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that
Okay.
is Dwapara Yuga, but
Right.
we have to follow the directions in Kali Yuga,
Right.
but completely different. Completely it will be different, like Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. Here
Right.
the people are different, and completely what the things are going is completely wrong. How we will survive, Prabhuji, here?
Wonderful
I
question.
don't understand.
Wonderful question, Mataji. So the same kind of question was asked to Vyasadeva. Okay, so there is a Purana called Vishnu Puran. Okay, so in that Vishnu Puran, it was asked to Vyasadeva that. So it was asked to Vasudev that, obviously Dwapar Yuga was a wonderful, it has a wonderful atmosphere of following Dharma. Okay. But when it comes to Kali Yuga, the nature of the Yuga itself is, the nature of the Yuga itself is so troublesome that, people easily gets irritated. People easily gets, gets motivated to do sinful actions. So what Vasudeva
Yes,
suggested is,
Prabhuji.
what Vasudeva Vyasa Bhagavan suggested is that, okay, what Vyasa Bhagavan suggested is that they have given some exceptions in Kali Yuga. So what in Dwapar Yuga, the way the way the spiritual practice that you used to do in Dwapar Yuga, that has become diluted in Kali Yuga. What I can say, in Kali Yuga, it is suggested that just by chanting the name of God, that's it, you get purified. So this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what we recite, in our parampara, it's a Yuga mantra. It is been suggested by Lord Brahma that, there is an Upanishad called Kali Santan Upanishad. In that, he suggested that those who recite this Hare Krishna mantra, they get relieved out of their sinful actions. Even if you do little practice, that is fine. So it is told in scriptures that, it's very difficult for a person to meditate upon God. You cannot, withdraw yourself from the different navigations that we have around us today. We have a greatest thing that is mobile, which easily diverts our, concentration. Okay, daily. In this kind of atmosphere, how are you going to meditate upon God? So scriptures suggested, give a very simple process. Just chant the holy names of God. If you are able to meditate upon God for 18 seconds, your life is successful. So they gave a lot of exceptions, when, as I said, when Vyasa Bhagavan was asked this question, same question like you, he said that, for Kali Yuga is the wonderful Yuga to do spiritual practice, because, in other Yugas, you have to undergo a lot of penance for many years. For thousands of years, whereas in Kali Yuga, just for few years, if you try to practice, then your life is successful. Okay, so there are many instances, there are many real incidents that happened, who practiced the spiritual path, but could not become perfect. Okay, what happened to them, that is, they are there, but today, like one instant, I can say there was a person of our Param Guru, there was a disciple of Param Guru, Srila Prabhupada. So this disciple, he was connected to Srila Prabhupada in 70s, 60s when he was alive. So that point of time, he became disciple, and he, so he asked Prabhupada that, what happens, my dear Prabhupada, if I cannot if I don't become perfect? Then Prabhupada, our Param Guru, said that don't worry, you practice, at the point of death, I will come to save you. I will come to take you to the abode of God. So this person, after Prabhupada left his mortal body, so this person also left the ISKCON and he became material person. And at the time of his death, okay, he was laying on the bed and he could visualize Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada came and
Hare Krishna.
okay, Srila Prabhupada, he even doesn't remember that Prabhupada gave him that word, that Prabhupada will come him to save out of danger. Like the greatest thing is that when you leave your body, if you go to higher planet, then that's an achievement. So Prabhupada personally came. Now how this was regarded, the hospital staff who were able to listen. He was doing conversation with Prabhupada. My dear Prabhupada, you came, though I did not follow you properly. I'm blessed. He was saying like this, and Prabhupada came. Yeah, I assured you, I came. So soon he left his body. So like this in Kali Yuga, there is though it is a very troublesome atmosphere, but it is a very awesome atmosphere to practice spiritual path. Little endeavor will make you perfect, will save you, from from big dangers. So did it answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Welcome, Mataji. So anybody?
Prabhu, Rajni Mataji has raised her hand from long time.
Go ahead, Mataji. Rajni Mataji, sorry to keep you on hold, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
So Prabhuji, my question is that already Krishna has explained to sun god. So
Right.
at what circumstances he has explained? Like for Arjuna, he has explained during the war,
Right.
and he was in a confusion. So he has explained him. So why it took long duration from that yuga to this yuga to explain Bhagavad Gita again?
Okay, yeah. So it is not that Bhagavad Gita should be learned or understood only when we have some troubles or when we have some problems, when we are under some deep issues. Okay? So Bhagavad Gita is a scripture that should be learned from the beginning of the life. Okay, so it was taught to sun god to do service selflessly. The nature of the sun, he doesn't worry whether we fold and do namaskar to him or not, whether we give some water to him or not. So in other yugas, even in this yuga, it is practiced that we have to offer water to sun. Do we do that? We don't do that. So does he consider that these people are not respecting me properly, so I don't shine at all, I don't come, I don't. So it's not, he's been taught this knowledge to do selfless service. Okay, so it is told in there's a wonderful glorification of sun god. It is called Aditya Hrudayam, which has been told in Ramayana to Ram by Agastya Muni. In that it is told that sun god is a Krutagnaya Devaya. He says that those who doesn't pay gratitude to him, still he takes care of them. Okay, so to serve selflessly, it has been taught to sun god. That's what is my understanding. And your next question was like, why it took a lot of time for to preach again to Arjuna. So as I said, we were discussing like this, Sanatan Dharma, which we are in right now. So how many of us are following to read scriptures? Very few, right? So after it was being told to sun god, it was being told to Manu, the first Prajapati of human beings. Okay, and it was told to Ikshvaku. It was in Treta Yuga. So Manu took birth before the Yuga cycle started. Okay, so from that time to Treta Yuga, it's a very big time. So if I tell the time calculation again, it will be confused. Later we will discuss about that. So it took a lot of time and still it was preserved until Ikshvaku. Okay, and later on it was preserved. Okay, and later on it was missed. It was lost because there were very few people to follow it. For example, after Dwapar Yuga completed, when the Kali Yuga started, okay, so the Buddhism rose enormously in India. Okay, so Buddhism was famous in India. Everybody was taking to Buddhism. So the philosophy of Buddhism is that you don't have to undergo Vedas, you don't have to study scriptures. Okay, they kept it aside, and people were not following the scriptural practices at all. The scriptural practices are elevating processes to human beings to progress in spiritual life, step by step. Okay, so one cannot at once become so perfect in spiritual, right? So they need some time. So the step by step process is being prescribed in the karma kanda section of the Vedas and in other scriptures as well. Okay, so this was lost when the Buddhism took place, when the Buddhism started spreading like anything. Nobody was reading. Okay, later on, his grace, Lord Shiva took an incarnation of, say, he Sripad Shankaracharya. He came and he slayed down like anything, and he brought back the Vedas. He brought back the scriptures. He introduced it again to the masses of people. Then onwards, again the Vedas. There were few followers, but very less, very few. But he spread, he promoted the scriptures in such a way that then onwards, again it started, taking his glory back. Okay, so like this, Krishna himself says that यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानं धर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. He says, whenever the dharma gets lost, I take an incarnation to re-establish it. That's the nature of this material world is that it doesn't. We are in a Maya atmosphere. It doesn't allow us to follow spirituality. Okay. However, if you put a sincere endeavor, it doesn't disturb you. Okay? So the nature of this material world is that by genuinely, you don't get desire to read scriptures. We have to cultivate that by little bit endeavor. Okay? So when people don't follow, obviously nobody, so the scriptures will be lost. When people follows, what they do, they make multiple prints of it, multiple copies of it. Then everybody will have a copy. So when everybody will have a copy, everybody will follow. When nobody shows interest on reading that, it is lost. Again, some personality has to take incarnation and they have to propagate it again. So this is how it was lost, and it was told to Arjuna. And it is not that Arjuna, I mean, it's a divine plan that Krishna wanted to teach this Bhagavad Gita to the masses of people, to us, with the medium of Arjuna. So it's not that only it was taught to Arjuna. Arjuna was a medium with who, from he according to him, so it should go from a pure disciple. Okay. So taking Arjuna as a medium, he taught it to everybody. Okay. So that's my comment on this, Mataji. I don't know how far I answered your question.
I have understood, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you for explaining.
Welcome. Was it heavy or?
No, Prabhuji, like it was not heavy, but like you have combined each and every reason also why like Shankaracharya has incarnated and what is the purpose. Like I got to know that each and every incarnation is only to help us and bring us near to the Krishna and become bring us near to the Krishna and serve him.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mataji. Is it the first time you're joining this session, Mataji, or are you already connected to ISKCON in some other ways?
Prabhuji, I'm Nikhil Prabhuji's wife.
You are?
Nikhil Prabhuji's wife.
Nikhil?
Remember me.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhu.
So who else has questions?
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna Prabhuji, can I?
Yeah, please, Mataji, go ahead.
Yes. Prabhuji, as you have said that 5 subject matters Bhagavad Gita deals with,
Yes.
but why only 5? Because it's 5 per my knowledge. Because the Bhagavad Gita teaches physical aspects like yoga or something, everything it teaches. Mental anatomy also teaches about the inner physical body, mind, everything it explains. Why you are giving only focus on 5 subject matters? How we relate while studying in the future only on these 5 matters?
Yes. Nice question, Mataji. So yes, Bhagavad Gita deals with many topics. Okay. However, all these topics which are being taught in Bhagavad Gita, they revolve around these 5. Okay. So they are the breakup of these 5 gross topics. Okay. For example, as you said that it deals with yoga also. Yes, of course, Bhagavad Gita gives a good elaboration about how the Ashtanga yoga process should be followed. So the Ashtanga yoga process, why do we do that? To establish relation with Ishvara, God,
Sure.
right? So when the topic of Ishvara comes, so when it comes to when we try to find out what are the different processes to establish relationship with, then the Ashtanga yoga process, Bhakti yoga process, Jnana yoga process, that comes. Okay, so like this, these gross 5 topics, okay, are main sorry subjects. Okay, within them there are many topics to be understood. Okay, when we go to each and every, so we will understand what they are. Okay, Mataji,
Okay.
is that fine?
Shruti Mataji has one question.
yeah, Prabhu, she's raised her hand.
Yes, whom am I speaking with?
Shruti Mataji.
Wonderful, thank you, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, as you explained about the karma, so I
Yes.
wanted to ask you that the good karma, whether good karma or bad karma, will we be facing that karma in this life and in this world, or it will be repeated throughout the, our like generations and generations of our birth?
Yeah, that's a good question to understand, Mataji. So yes, of course. So when you do bad karma or good karma, whatever it may be, so the reactions that you're going to undergo might you might experience in this life itself. However, if your life ends before you experience those reactions, then you will be experiencing them in your next life. So the whole idea why we take birth is that to clear some debits. Debits in the sense, the Shankaracharya says that, he says that, uh, this whole process, like the way why we took birth, why we do have these material appearances, whatever we have. So these are given to us to clear our debts. Debts in the sense we are indebted to the people who are around us right now. Okay. So in our previous life, it's a little bit deep topic, Mother, but I don't know. I can tell, but it may again raise up some confusions or some kind of little bit panicness. So, but still, I'll try to put it in very simple manner. So it's, you should understand that, for example, like you did some good karma. Okay. For whatever, I don't know, what position you are in right now, wealthy, healthy, whatever it may be, you got it because you deserved it. Okay, so you made yourself deserved, maybe in this life or previous life. For example, how can we understand that I'm carrying good karma of my previous life? So if you observe some people from the beginning of their childhood, they'll have wonderful intelligence, wonderful understanding towards things. These people who are who have this kind of knowledge, they are carrying their previous good karmic reactions in this life. And some people, same father will be same, elder kid would be intelligent and the younger one would be dumb. when the father is same, then you should have the same children with same knowledge, same attitude, right? But it's not happening. Why? So the previous life karma is been acting upon them. Sometimes what happens, if it is a bad karma, for everything there will be some time specific. Okay, so to put it very simple way, in our regular terms, we discuss like, this person has Shukra Dasha. This person now is undergoing, according to his horoscope, is undergoing a Mahar Dasha. Dasha means 10 years of time. Okay, so a person undergoes a kind of reaction to a specific time, which has been decided in Shastras. To learn it, it needs a lot of time. But to understand right now, so good or bad karma will have some time specific. Once the time specific is completed, you'll come back to the normal. If you're enjoying a good karma, if you understand that yes, now I'm enjoying my good karma, because of which I have good health, wealth. Now let me use this health, wealth to understand a little bit about God and spirituality. Then again, when you're doing something good, you'll be given some additional bonus, some additional time. Okay, so if you think in that way, and if you try to pursue your life in that way, then you will enjoy the bliss further as well. But when you're undergoing good karma, when you're enjoying good health and wealth, if you use it for useless things, if we use it for useless things, then soon after our time is finished, the karma time is finished, then we have to undergo suffering. That's same applies to the bad karma as well. When you are undergoing some bad reactions, obviously you will feel you'll have a lot of struggles. Things doesn't go in the way you think. Okay, people doesn't understand you, they misunderstand you. This happens for times, sometimes specific. When you're undergoing this tough time, if you reach out to God, and if you please him, if you try to become a good devotee of him, he will help you. He will give you that potency to tolerate these bad reactions that you're undergoing. Okay, he will decrease that reaction power. Okay, so however, if you still don't understand the philosophy of God, if you don't try to become a good devotee of God, then because of this tough situation, you may land up in a different mood of ending of life also. Okay, that's the reason always we have to understand good karma, bad karma. They have some time to play in our life. Once they are done, we'll go back to normal. But when you are undergoing this tough or good situations, we have to try to understand why are we experiencing that. How do we cut off that, or how do we uh, go further with the same thing. Okay, so that's what I want to comment on this, Mataji. Did it answer?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Welcome, Mataji. So
Hare
anybody?
Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Likita Mataji and Gayatri Mataji, combining both the questions, they are asking about Bhuta Yagna and Brahman Yagna. So
Oh.
Likita Mataji's question is, Guru who established relationship with Brahma is Brahma or Brahman?
Okay, right.
Supreme Brahman or Brahman is her question.
Great. So yeah, the five wonderful, Mataji. Thank you for remembering the important points that we need to remember for our entire life. Okay, so yes, Brahman Yajna and Bhuta Yajna, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
So Brahman means so one is caste Brahman, one is the actual Brahman. So Brahman means the unmanifested form of God. The whole, the God is his energy is spread across the universe. Okay, to name his unmanifested energy, the Shastras say him as Brahman, the Parabrahman. Okay, so from that name, so the Chaturmukha Brahma, whom we see, who designs our life, who writes our destiny, what we understand in a common way, he was given that name. Okay, so Brahman means not the person who tries to establish relation with the Chaturmukha Brahma. Brahman means the person who is trying to establish relation with that supreme personality who is called Parabrahman. Okay, so then he is called Brahman. So it cannot be a person who took birth in Brahmana caste only. It can be anybody. Okay, so it can be any person, irrespective of religion, caste, creed, whatever it may be. Okay, Krishna says, "Mam hi partha vipashritya episu yaphapayonya striyo vaishyasta dasudra tepi yanti param gatim." He says, those who take shelter of me, those who try to endeavor and establishing relationship with me, it can be anybody, women, Shudra, or any class of human being it can be. So they will attain me for sure. So those who are trying to establish a relationship with the supreme person, they are called Brahman, and they it is said that they possess the Brahmanical qualities. Okay, so Brahman means, it says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, he says, some list of qualities. Shamo Satyam Dhamma Shama, like he should have a quality of showing kindness, tolerance, patience. Okay, reading scriptures. Okay, so these some list of qualities are given in Bhagavad Gita. If one possesses that qualities, then he is called a Brahman. It's not it's not that a person who takes birth in a Brahmin family, the caste Brahmin family, he is only called Brahman. No, that's not right. That's also right if he also tries to establish relationship with God. Okay, so other than the people who doesn't, who try to establish relationship with God, even though they are not taken birth in a Brahmin family, they are also called Brahmins. That is what is the explanation of spirituality. So when you try to, Brahmins are being assigned a responsibility to teach the masses of people about establishing relation with God, understanding scriptures, following dharma. So they hold a position of guru. Okay, that's the reason it is said that Brahman should be taken care. Okay, so Brahman is the one who is sincerely endeavoring to establish relationship with God. Okay, so that is one thing. Bhutadaya means we have lot of living entities around us: animals, reptiles, birds, dogs, whatever it may be. Other than human beings, it can be all. It can be any creature. Okay, so we as a human being, we have an intelligence to uh, earn and make ourselves comfortable. So when we are becoming comfortable, we also, when we make ourselves comfortable, we also take help of these other bhutas also. For example, if there is a dog, we use the dog to tie in front of our house, and we use the god to protect ourselves from the thieves. Okay, so if we train the dog that if some stranger comes to her, it will bark. Okay, we use the dog. So we get one dog, but the dog has a family as well. Okay, so you take help of one dog, but it has a family as well. So you don't know who is that. So it's suggested that you also take care of these other living creatures. Also give some food to them, water. Respect them. Respect in the sense, in my sense, in the spiritual sense, respect in the sense that don't kill them until unless they are not trying to harm you. If they're trying to harm you, then fine. You can, for example, you're going out in a jungle. If a snake comes and to bites you, then obviously, if a wild dog comes to you and it tries to bite you, then you obviously have to react to that. You cannot go ahead and you cannot just shake his head like that. So until unless they don't harm you, you should not harm them. You have to take care of them. This is about the Brahman Yajna and Bhuta Yajna. So did it answer your question, Likita Mataji? Hare Krishna.
She put it in the chat, Prabhu. Yes, she's put. Mataji has put yes.
Thank you. So anybody has any questions?
Prabhu, there are questions related to karma, Prabhu. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, like you'll be answering today or you'll be answering in the karma section?
Yeah, how many questions?
Prabhu, one is from Sheila Mataji and one is from Shruti Mataji.
Okay.
So, and Mahesh Prabhu has asked how to control senses, which is not under control. And Abhishek Prabhu has asked a different question. What makes people to leave their family and become brahmacharis? So these 4 questions are there, Prabhu.
Okay, so first we'll answer this question, how to control senses. It's a very simple answer that I can give you, Prabhuji, but a lot to practice. Okay, the answer is very simple. So our senses can be controlled when you please the Lord of the senses. The Lord of the senses is Rishikesha. So try to please Rishikesha, your senses will be controlled. Okay, so there's a great explanation that can be discussed on this, but it requires a lot of practice more than explanation. So for now, please understand that please become a devotee of Rishikesha. He will take care of your senses. Okay, so that's the first question I want to answer. Next, what was that, Mataji?
Why do some people leave their family and become brahmacharis? By Abhishek Prabhu.
Okay.
I guess Prabhu is already left. He's not there.
He's not.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Anyways, the brahmacharyam is a in olden days it was mandate for everyone. Okay, when they have to undergo the learning process. Okay, childhood, once they get into Gurukul, okay, they used to follow strict brahmacharya. Okay, now that we don't have Gurukuls, so some people specifically choose to become brahmacharyam. Okay, so it is brahmacharyam is nothing but doing a scriptural study under guidance of a master, in a Gurukul. Okay, and brahmacharyam, it doesn't mean that he has to become a brahmachari for his whole life. He will have a choice for a period of 8 years or something like that. In ISKCON, the brahmacharya is suggested for 8 years. After 8 years, the choice is left to the individual whether to go to grihastha life or continue further. Okay, so to study keen scriptural study, people choose brahmacharya. So next question, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Other 2 questions are related to karma, Prabhu.
Okay.
Should I tell it or will you take it in the karma section, Prabhu?
Okay, could you please read the questions?
Prabhu, Sheila Mataji's question is, why can't we remember our past life? Is there any reason or there is any effect of our karma? And Shruti Mataji's question is, so whatever karma she is doing, whether it is good or bad, we will be facing in this world only and in this life itself.
Yeah, that we've already answered, Mataji. Shruti Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. So only one question left. Sheila Mataji's. That why can't we remember our past life?
Yeah, yes, Mataji. So Sheila Mataji, yes, we do remember whatever we have did in our past life when we are in the womb of our mother. Okay, so there is a detailed analogy given what happens when a living entity is in the womb of his mother. Okay, so we pray to God with folded hands that my dear Lord, I did a lot of things which separated me from you, which made me to take birth again. So please give me a chance in this lifetime. I'll become pure. I will become a good devotee of you, and I'll come back to you. So like that, the living entity, prays to God when it is at the infant stage in the mother's womb. Okay, but when we come into when we take birth, when we at once when we get contacted to the Maya which is spread in this material world, we forget that. We forget that material. We forget our previous knowledge. The reason why there are 2 things, if you remember your previous life after taking birth, you will not have peaceful mind. Okay, you will undergo even more anxiety. No, I could not finish that. I could not do that. That's why I'm suffering still. Like that, you will not have peaceful mind. So you already had suffering in previous life. That is that's the reason you are taking birth again. Again, you're remembering the same thing. Then you will undergo even more. Or at once you will what will happen is you will leave off everything. You will stop doing the other activities that you're assigned to, and you will become a mendicant, or you might become something else. Okay, and that is also not suggested, because when you take a human form of life, you are here to settle some certain debts. If you don't settle those debts, again you have to take birth. Okay, so one thing, the forgetfulness and remembrance comes from God only. He gives that as and when required. Okay, and especially the previous life remembrance, he doesn't give to anybody, because again they will not have a peaceful life. So, but still, there are some cases who still remember previous lives. There are many instances which happened. People remembering. There was one person, who was a rich person. He was being, murdered by giving poison to him. Okay, and he took once when he was dead, he took birth again in a nearby town of the same town where he was living in his previous life. So when he became 4 or 5 years age, he got remembrance of his previous life, and he insisted his parents, I mean his present parents, to take to that place where he was lived earlier, and they took him, and this in this life he took birth in a very middle or low class family. Okay, and when he went to his actual house, his sons were there. His elder son came out of his house, and this boy, he recognized him. He addressed him with his name, and that elder son, what he did, he gave a good kick to that kid, and he said, "You people are trying to cheat us. Somehow you got information of us, and you're trying to take advantage of our prosperity. You're trying to show off. You're trying to say some lies, and you want to ask for a share of this property." Like that, the son the son scolded his father in his present life. And after a lot of things, this kid revealed that, in this house, this is in this corner, I left this lad. After spending a lot of time, his elder son could recognize that, yes, it was his father who took birth again. And so, like, see, once in his previous life, he was a wealthy person. Now he was not. Now, can he sit properly? Can he maintain his life properly? But somehow this kid, he understood the logic of life and death, and he became a devotee. This devotee, he somehow got contacted to one of ISKCON gurus, and he said that this is what happened with me, and he started practicing spiritual practice. So this will, the previous life remembrance is not a good idea to lead life. Of course, we have to take scriptural references that yes, we will have reactions following us, so we have to be careful. Like that, we have to understand, and we have to go ahead. That's it. So anybody has any questions? So shall we stop here?
Yes, Prabhu. No questions in the chat box.
Okay, wonderful. I thank all of them who still are there in the class, patiently listening to the class. I really appreciate all of them. So thank you, Tanupriya Mataji and Satyaprasad Prabhu, for being so patient. It's already 2
Prabhuji, one small
hours.
question.
Yes, who is that?
Prabhuji, I have one small question. Suppose
Yes.
my next path, if I have to
Uh,
remember this much somebody's association
Okay.
in next path also. So is there anything I have to go on any process for that?
So first of all, why do you want to take a birth again, Mataji? When you have a chance of,
Am I clear to you?
Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So my question is, like, why do you want to take a chance of taking birth again when you have a chance of stopping your birth and death cycle right here in this life itself? Why do you want to remember all these things?
That is true. That is one thing what I know wanted, that I want to stop my birth this way. But in this life, somebody's association which I'm missing. Okay. I may not ask so many questions that end of his life.
Okay.
I could not ask, but which I wanted to ask after my birth, next birth. Then in such case,
That's a very what I say. That is
I
what.
want to be Krishna consciousness next birth also.
Okay, great. So you wanted to, if by any chance, if you take birth again, you wanted to have relation with the same person, the same relatives whom you had in this life as well, right?
Yeah. If I wanted.
That needs a lot of spiritual practice, Mataji. And of course, if we don't know that, we don't know. We actually don't remember whomsoever we have right now. As I said, I was keep on telling that, we are here to settle some debts. For example, if you haven't settled the debt that you are indebted to the person whom you wanted to, have the relation again, you might get uh, claim, or you might get a chance to take birth wherever the person is taking birth. So in our Hindu culture, we say that सात जन्म उनका बंधन, the seven life, the wife and husband follows like. This is what, but we may not have that remembrance, but sometimes, in our life, in present life, if we look at some people, even if they don't do anything for us, we will still have some um, attachment. We will have some, like, we might like without, for no reason. We don't know why we like some people in our life. Okay, so this kind of likes, this kind of favorness that you get when you see somebody, is something that this person whom you are seeing is somehow was a relative, was a peer, or was somebody to you in your previous life. That's the reason, that is continuing still. Okay, so
Maybe.
is that good enough, Mataji? Understand?
Somehow.
So it's a deep thing to understand, Mataji, but don't take a chance when you have chance of stopping it. You pray for the person whom you wants to associate. You pray for his well-being also. You pray to God that let that person also be get elevated to God's abode. Then you also pray for you as well. Then both of you can live in God's abode by understanding.
Prabhuji, let me tell you the truth. Actually, I lost my husband very recently. Okay.
Yes, Mataji. I'm sorry for that.
So
Hare Krishna.
maybe, but one thing that I want to do, Krishna consciousness, my next birth, if I taken a birth as a human being also, whichever may be, I'll be in Krishna, with Krishna. That is true. Krishna will not leave me, neither I will leave Krishna. But maybe that I'll be needed his association once again.
Yeah, don't worry, Mataji. I'm really sorry for that. I know the entire thing. We even wanted to meet you, but we could not. You were in a different place. Yeah. So I pray for his well-being. I pray Krishna to have save.
Actually, I thought no, I will be living before him, where I can take him with, because he's never believe on this all Krishna consciousness. Not, he was never on this. So I thought, no, if I live before him, then I will take him and see to it that he will be with Krishna. So I was my impression was like that, but it has not happened like that. That is the one thing as
Don't worry,
not
Mataji.
from them.
So please remember him in your prayers. Okay. So Krishna also takes care of the relatives of his devotees. Okay. So if you pray for your spouse for his, well-being in the, if you pray for his safe journey to his God's abode, Krishna will definitely, bless. Okay. You pray for him. So read the scriptures. Okay. Krishna will definitely take care of both of you. Okay. So don't worry. So we cannot, no matter how much ever we say, we cannot pacify. We know that, however, so just wanted to say that, don't worry, God will take care of both of you, Mataji. So anybody has any questions, or shall we stop here for today? So I guess nobody has any questions. I thank you all for joining today's session. I wish to see you all again tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. discussion about Krishna. So please don't miss this fortunate opportunity, understanding about Krishna. So thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for
Hare
the
Krishna,
wonderful
Prabhu.
session.
Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna, Dandavad
much.
Pranam.
Thank you all for being so patient, listening to something, though I was,
Wonderful.
but thank you all. So we'll see you tomorrow. Let's meet each other tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.